Very good evening to everyone today. And thank you for joining another exciting workshop seminar that we have for you today. We'll just wait maybe for a couple of minutes more to see if more people will join, and then we will start the session. So let's begin today's webinar. We have a very interesting person who's going to be addressing today's webinar. This is going to be Dr. Richa Sharma, for whom I'm going to give a brief introduction first. I'm very happy, excited to be introducing her to the audience today. And I'm sure that we're going to get an in-depth information and practical knowledge about digital pathology, scanners, etc., and how we could actually adopt them in our practice today, which she has. What makes her very interesting is that she has been on both sides of the fence. She has been one who has crafted the solution and also has adopted it in practice today as she's gone back into reporting platform. She is right now the senior consultant in the Department of Lab Medicine at Max Super Speciality Hospital, Dwarka, Delhi. Her past experiences include Amrita Hospital, Faridabad, where she was consultant histopathologist. I'm very, very proud to say that her journey started from Bangalore Medical College, where she pursued her post-graduation, and then joined the prestigious Bangalore Institute of Oncology, or HCG. And again, a very proud moment to say that she was one of my best outgoing students out over there. We shared not just that, but also the camaraderie of working together. It was almost like a colleague. And some of her traits are due commitment, diligence, excellence in reporting, her expertise in her field, whether it's been histopathology or hematopathology or flow cytometry for that matter, and molecular. And dedication, strong commitment to work, hard work. These are some of the traits I have experienced working with her, and it shows even till today in her practice. So, Dr. Richa, we we take an immense amount of pride and privilege to have you here today to address the forum. And I'm sure that all of you who will listen to her today will see that it comes out from her heart. Pathology is something which is not just in her mind, it's in her heart and her soul. And she comes out with that authenticity of what she says. And that's because what she says, what she practices. And you're going to see that, and her vision as how she would like to see digital pathology go forward. She'll be sharing very practical, interesting tips as well, how you could employ that in your practice, get the benefits of the advantage of digital pathology and reporting. A lot of information on scanners and what kind of scanners you can adopt in your practice, and make it meticulously sail through your day-to-day work and see how you could reap the benefits of using digital pathology in your practice today. She has been part of SigTuple Technologies in the past, where she has very dedicatedly worked as part of the products team as well as the go-to-market team, and not just about annotating the product, building up protocols for validation, also validating the product from her side, and experiencing the market front as well by taking it to the customers and evangelizing about the product as well. And no better person who's there on the other side back again and is using this technology in her practice. She has AI 100 with her today, and she's going to tell you how that has made her life much more easier in practice. So before we actually go on to the webinar, I would like to also talk a little bit about a sneak peek into the product that we had done a little bit of a soft launch at the Hematocon recently at Nagpur. This is something which is going to be very interesting and to watch for in the future space. So let me tell you a brief thing about the sneak peek into SigTuple A76, which is the whole slide scanner for not just hematopathology. It's also going to be a whole slide scanner for other specimens in future, like histopathology, bone marrow, etc. So a little bit on that, and then we'll move on to Dr. Richa's talk. So what we are going to be doing with A76 is pretty much going to be similar, but yes, the features are going to be very different. The cherry on the top is going to be obviously the image quality, which is going to be really amazing for all of you to experience and work with. We are still trying to automate the error-prone manual microscopic review and democratize microscopy by enabling AI-assisted remote review unhindered by geographical boundaries. And that purpose remains the same. It's just that in a different form and shape, as in the form of whole slide imaging. This was our first product, and this is where it all started with, as you all of you know, Shonit and Shrava. So the peripheral blood smear analysis as well as the urine microscopy, both on one platform, on one device. And that's the beauty of AI 100 even today. We have got the CE certification for both the products, and Shonit has got the FDA clearance as well. So what we are giving you is the AI-powered Spark robotic microscope to convert any biological sample to digital images. And that's been the value add that we have been providing here at SigTuple for the pathologist. Accurate, affordable, and accessible, because it's all based on a cloud-driven platform where a pathologist will be able to review the images and seamlessly give a report from any internet-enabled device from anywhere in the world. And this is one point of accessibility and remote access reporting, which Dr. Richa is going to talk about more in detail, more about her personal experience and how she looks at digital reporting today on that front. So just a couple of features on the A76 quickly before we move on to Dr. Richa's talk. It's going to be one system for multiple specimen types, and it delivers you the detailed, true to life digital images. And that's, I think, a very important thing that we have considered in shaping up this product. So it's what you see is what you get. How it's going to be under manual microscopy, you're going to see the real natural colors and the image quality that will make you very familiar to work with, although it's going to be on a digital-based platform. So no post-processing of images, the same colors, the same kind of granularity, or the the specifications that you would see in the particular cells, the morphology, which you're going to be seeing under manual microscopy, you're going to be seeing that on the digital-based platform. A streamlined operator workflow, which is going to be hassle-free. It is going to be an automated oil dispensing system with barcode scanning. And most importantly, you will be able to scan 6 slides at one time. So these are the major differences that you're going to be seeing on the A76 compared to the AI 100. And of course, it will allow you the remote access review. And I think as a pathologist, that's one major key factor which transforms our life today, which obviates the need to be physically present with the manual microscopy in practice. And you could do it from anywhere at any time, making sure you're giving that benefit to your patient as well as your clinicians in giving the right diagnosis at the right time so that they can go on with further evaluation and management of the case as well. It's the same things which is more or less mentioned over here as well. So I'm not going to be taking any more time. We'll be seeing more into this space. So keep tuned into SigTuple, the kind of posts that we're going to be putting up on various platforms, social media platforms as well. You're going to be seeing more on the news of A76 and the kind of performance quality validations that which we will be conducting on this as well. We look forward to some more publications on that front, and we will keep you on the news for those kind of things as well. So now, without further ado, I would like to stop sharing my screen, and I would want Dr. Richa to take it up and enlighten us today on digital practice, the digital platforms, the scanners, whole slide imaging, and most importantly, what she, as in her personal space, has seen from crafting to adopting a solution like this and gaining practical insights. And please feel free to interact and make the session a very interactive session. She comes with loads of knowledge and experience in her field of practice, and we would be happy, to give her a lot of questions and to see what, she could come up with. So over to you, Dr. Richa. Dr. Richa has also done a lot of publications from her front. You can follow it up to see the academic pursuits that she had followed. She has also done the fellowship in neuropathology from NIMHANS. So she's been a master of different kinds of trades, and that's what's drives her even today. And she seeks out more and more to contribute, in the digital pathology front. And we'll be very happy to see further contributions from her as well as we go into the future. So thank you, Dr. Richa, for accepting to do this presentation with us today, and over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this generous introduction. We'll directly jump into the presentation. So this is by and large my experience, since like Dr. Renu has just mentioned, I have been part of the team Dr. Renu had spearheaded the transformation that we started in SigTuple, and I was part of the team for a very brief time. But I learned a lot because, as she said, I have dabbled in the rather reluctantly into the go-to-market activities and also in the products. So I understand both the point of views, what the end user wants and what the company can offer. So today's talk is revolving around what is digital pathology, what are its applications, in which sections do we apply digital pathology, what is whole slide imaging, because now almost all of us know about what are scanners, and the dilemma starts that how do we implement them in our labs, and examples of how the world across is adopting digital pathology and where are we as compared to them. So digital pathology is nothing but acquisition, management, sharing, and interpretation of pathology information. So if we put it simply, we are digitizing the glass slide that we are using in our labs, either for hematology or histopathology or any other kind of smears that we make in our setups. So those can be digitized and they can be viewed on our screens, either on your notepads or on your laptops or on your mobile devices. So how do we use digital path? This is often discussed and said. So for primary diagnosis, where I don't have the expertise to tell you what the diagnosis is, but I have the ability to send those images to somebody who is an expert in it. So they can, kind of give you a rather prompt primary diagnosis for your patients. Then second opinions. I'm stuck. I don't know. I'm not an expert in neuropath and I want an opinion from a neuropathologist. So let's see if this is possible or not. So then you can relay the images to the expert. He can give you a second opinion and you can pass on a better opinion, informed opinion to your patient. Intraoperative frozen section consultation. This is by far the most widely used and published use of digital pathology. Even when we talk about the history of telepathology, the first thing that they started with was frozen section. So intraoperative frozen section consultations is what most of the people use. Why? Because there are a lot of places in the world, across the world, where they have means to buy the setup of digital pathology, but they do not have expertise. They do not have a pathologist who can sit there and give an opinion on their frozen sections. So that's where they use this setup a lot. Then telepathology, like I already said, archival, because nowadays this space has become money. The more amount of space you want to keep your blogs and slides and even all your literature or your papers. So everything is going digital now. We want to compress everything on digital platforms. So that way the archival becomes very easy. Education, most of the colleges now, they want to have an interactive digital platform. I have been in colleges where they expect to have a digital museum as well, not just the traditional, not just the traditional museum, but also a digital museum. So that's where we are heading towards, a digital world, a digital way of educating even the next generation. Then most of the equas that we do nowadays, they are on a digital platform. So digital pathology becomes handy even there. Then that's where now these two last applications is where we are heading towards if we are applying digital pathology in our practice for quantitative analysis of biomarkers and using AI-based algorithms. That's where everything will lead to, but we are yet trying to pave the road towards artificial intelligence. So what are the advantages? For me, I would say it eases my life completely, digital solutions. You will circumvent all the diagnostic, logistic, and operational challenges you face in your laboratory. So I work in alignment with another partner lab of ours, which is a bigger lab. And whenever stuck, I need to send my samples from my lab to that lab. And that amount of transaction, arranging for a person, even though he might be a runner for your day-to-day work, but aligning the time between the sample comes to your lab till reaching to the next destination, and there the time they take to process it, that is all time consuming, and that amount, that is somebody who is paying for that time, and that person who is paying is your patient. So if you want to have a faster TAT, if you want to have a better, if you want to circumvent all these challenges, digital solutions is the way to go. I will give you examples of that, where when I did not have a digital solution in my lab, I would actually send the sample across to my partner lab. But now that I have those solutions with me, I simply scan the smears and I have the liberty to get a second opinion or a better opinion from my seniors sitting in the other laboratory. So digital solution will definitely reduce the burden of arranging things, arranging people, and couriering the required sample, slide, or anything that you are trying to get an opinion on. It also creates an environment where a pathologist can gain remote access to digital images for verification and approval of reports. Now, this is very important. A lot of our laboratories across the country, they survive on a single pathologist, or there'll be a very limited number of people who are working in that lab, and you want to give a very informed, very confident report to your patients even when you are not there in the lab, which happens even if you make the pathologist work 8 to 8, but from night 8 till morning 8 there won't be anybody, and you might have to sign out reports, especially in hospital setups where the patient cannot wait for you to come back early in the morning. So what do you do then? Digital solutions will help you to, like I would show you the examples where you'll be able to see the images while sitting at your home, and you'll be able to, give off the reports much more confidently, and the clinical treatment can be started sooner for the patients. Like I said, it obviates the need for physical availability of slides. It reduces manual error because you are incorporating a lot of artificial intelligence in this, and it is going to help you to standardize, reproduce, and scale your operations wherever you are working. So now I'm going to show you certain examples of the device that we're talking about, AI100. Now this is a beautiful image. If this was a case which was sent to you on your screen, even if you are not sitting in the city or in the hospital where you are signing out this report, you will be confidently be able to sign it off as an acute leukemia. Such clarity of the images is what makes the digital solution these days so attractive. So here, since we pathologists are obsessed with that microscopic view, because that's how the images look like in our microscope, the people at SigTuple have understood our reluctance to completely move to digital screen appearance. So they have kept this sort of format, and you can see that you can easily appreciate the number of cells that can be seen, if you can call it an acute leukemia, and plus the morphology. It is so beautiful here. Now, this is an example of my hospital. This patient had walked into our OPD saying that his platelets have been consistently going down, so 30,000, 50,000. When he came to us, the platelets were around 15,000 by the analyzer. So my technicians, we have a very we are very open to such solutions. So my technician very instantly, when we had put this device in our lab, he had taken up to it that he would scan all the slides, and I'm very particular about seeing these images in the microscope and in the on the device as well. When we had just installed, this is the first case that we had scanned there, and this is what had come up. So this patient had low platelets, but on scanning, the AI100 showed so many platelets. So without even peeping into the microscope, I could confidently say that this patient has adequate platelets. So if I was to sign this out case sitting in my house, I don't think I would have any problem in telling the clinician that they don't have to worry about any platelets or anything. The patient is absolutely fine. Now, this is another very interesting case shared kindly by our partner lab. And this was a patient who had come to us with leukocytosis. And as you can see, the analyzer has got completely confused. All the differential is all over the place. It's not able to make up its mind whether it's a monocytosis, eosinophilia, basophilia, immature granulocytes. And we scan this smear in AI100. This is what the AI100 flags. It has picked up around 124 suspects of malarial parasite. When we saw this smear under the microscope, it was full of them, full of these parasitized RBCs. So this is another beauty of this device, that where the analyzer, the CBC analyzer is challenged, this compensates for it. So you have an entire solution in your lab that gives you an ease of diagnosis. Now, these images that I scan on my device were easily seen, instantly seen, in fact, by my seniors in the other hospital. And we were sure of what we were looking for. And this sort of communication, it makes the whole experience of working in setup in digital form a pleasure, because you get to come to the diagnosis sooner. Now, this is another example where this particular patient was diagnosed as lymphocytosis elsewhere. He came to us for flow, and we had sent this sample to our partner lab. And this is the report that was shared to me at night. So this sample had come in the evening. We had mailed the sample during the night, and night itself, they had scanned this sample and they had called us and told that this is not a case of CLPD or lymphocytosis, it's a case of acute leukemia. Again, such rapid passing of information is only possible through digital platforms. It will not happen if we were to, do everything physically, transporting samples from one place to the other. Now, this is another use case of digital pathology. So I have told you how digital pathology is being used in hematology. This is another place where it has become a widely explored part, that is the urine analysis. So when we run the sample in Shrava of SigTuple, you can see that it is giving a good different categories here: RBC, pus cells, epithelial cast. So you can see that how beautifully it has flagged all the RBCs. One other good thing about this analyzer is that it does not mix up yeast. Apparently it's a best performing, there's no mix up between the yeast and the RBCs. And since they use microfluidic technology, even the common error that happens in RBC quantification in such analyzers with air bubbles, even that doesn't happen with SigTuple's Shrava. This is another example of pus cells that can be seen. These are all digital images that they've taken from the urine microscopy. This is the example of the crystals. So now we come to the imaging, the scanners. So whole slide imaging. So digitization of glass slides, which simulates light microscopy. Those are the digital slides that we're looking for. So how do we scan these slides? We scan them through whole slide imaging, which are nothing but high resolution digital images. So you can kind of digitize almost any smear that you make in your lab. It can be AFB smears, it can be peripheral smears, it is in fact a lot of tissue sections. So what are the basic workflow that you use when you are scanning a slide in whole slide scanners? So you need to have a scanner, which might be a single slide scanner, a 6 to 10 slide scanner, or a multi-loader. You need to have a glass slide. You need to scan the slide on it. Images will be taken inside the scanner and they will be available on your workstation. So what happens inside the scanner? So when you put the slide in the digital scanner, at that time, the scanner will take multiple images at different magnifications and in different focal planes. So there are the 4 things that happen inside the machine is image acquisition, that is the capture, the storage and management, that is the saving, the editing, like we do in our routine photography on our phones, all that airbrush and everything. Every touch-up will be done to those digital images, not compromising the authenticity of them, but giving you a high resolution image, and then sharing in form of viewing, displaying, and transmission. So once all the focusing algorithms have worked, the images are ready, they are displayed. The next thing that comes is the storage, which uses local hard disk or cloud-based platforms, archival, and the policy of storing and archival depends on the center that is using the whole slide scanner. So these are some images of SigTuple's AS76. These are the digitized images of histopathology. You can see how crystal clear these images are. Peripheral smear. This is the bone marrow. And these are the pap smears. I'm giving you examples of what all things you can digitize and have the pleasure of seeing them all without moving from your place. This is AFB stain. So how do you implement these digital solutions? Being curious about digital solution is one, but how do we incorporate it into our labs? That is very important because these are high cost investments. So one thing that needs to be done first and foremost is understand what are you looking for when you apply these digital solutions in your lab. So you need to be on the same page. The hospital administration, that is the finance, they are going to pay for these scanners or whatever solution that you are trying to put. The laboratory leadership, because this is again something which is good to have, and they will be, you know, bound to be have some resistance from the workforce, existing workforce of your lab. So they all need to be on the same page when you're adopting digital way of working in your lab. And of course IT, because if you want to really explore this solution, it has to seamlessly sync in with your HIS or LIMS. So you need to come to a common understanding. You need to understand what are you looking for? What are your objectives of implementing this in your lab? So best strategies that globally they recommend is do not implement the solution as an replacing your current existing way of working. Start small. For example, start with frozen section or start with single slide scanners where you are, you know, initially in the part of the day around 10 slides or one batch of slides you are scanning on that scanner just to come to the hang of it. Or better still, like what we have done in our lab, we have switched to digital solutions in hematology, in clinical pathology. And now that we are comfortable with the way of working in digital space, we will be easily moving towards digital solutions in other parts of the lab, so to say in histopathology, for example. So all the team have to come together. We have to understand what are we looking for, what are we aiming for, and then start looking for uh, resources, which scanners will be better for us. So these are the checkpoints. You have to know that the IT and the LIS, they need to be ready. All these scanners have certain specification and they need to be, you know, integrated with your LIS system. And why it is important, I'll show you in further slides, because that will give you that kind of ease to access it from anywhere in your hospital, in your labs, or anywhere that you are sitting. For that, LIS has to be as advanced as your scanner is. Then the pathologist should be ready because you are the end user. You are the one who is going to say that, no, I am comfortable with digital way of reporting. I am going to incorporate it. Because again, I don't think just seeing the digital images is the end of it. You will start, once you become comfortable with the way of working like this, you would want to add on different features such as, like when we report uh, head and neck carcinoma, we know that depth of invasion is very important. So what we do right now, if we do not have screens, we do not have scales, we do it the traditional way. We see what is the depth of invasion, we measure it, and we give a value. But imagine if you have the screen, you have the image on your a laptop, your device, and you have a scale, you have a digital scale, how accurate your diagnosis would become, how accurate you can give the depth of invasion to the patient. So these are the add-on features that you would, once you become comfortable with digital way of working, you would want to start looking for them. You would want to incorporate artificial intelligence based solutions that are available in the market for probably analyzing the tumor markers, analyzing the IHCs, and that is the way forward when we talk about digital pathology. So pathologist readiness is very important. Without them, if you have even one person in your team who says, I want to explore digital pathology, you have a chance. But if your team says that, no, we are comfortable with being on the microscope all the time, you would have a very tough time. So instead of investing your time looking for scanners, invest time to sensitize them. Then laboratory readiness. Know that digital pathology does not mean that your workflow will come down, your workforce will come down. One workforce will be dedicated for scanning these slides on the digital platform. So you have to sensitize your laboratory staff as well. It's very, very important. Then hardware and software selection. This is very important. You need to understand that what is the size of the scanner that you're looking for, how many slides you want to scan on it, and always try to get an on-site demonstration of these scanners. So scanner selection, the suggestion as given by European Society of Digital and Integrative Pathology, it says that if you have a caseload of say 300 slides per day and you want to scan 300 slides on your device, then do not buy a single scanner that scans 300 slides, that has a 300 slide capacity. Rather, buy 3 scanners of 100 slide capacity, because that is going to optimize your way of working in these in the laboratory. Again, it all comes down to cost, because the cost is too much of these scanners. So these might not be always practical, but this is how, when you are going to a digital solution, this is how you must be thinking. Always scan your slides during the daytime. So I know a lot of setups that want to scan their slides during the nighttime. You know, I've prepared my slides. I would just put it on in the scanner and let it be scanned throughout the night. Morning, the slides will be available for the pathologist to see on their work notes. But that is not how, that's a very risky business, because if something goes wrong at night, you would not be there to troubleshoot. So the recommendation is that if you have a scanner and if you have a high capacity scanner, scan the slides only in the daytime. Then IT and LIS readiness. That's very important, because you should be able to link your digital images to these LIS systems. That is how you will be able to access them even sitting in your clinician's OPD. So the tumor boards, you'll be able to incorporate those images into your reports. So that's why LIS integration is very important, and that should be spoken to the scanners, to the companies when they come for pitching their devices to you, that how well it will integrate to your existing LIS systems. So finally, when all these things are done, you have a scanner. Where do you sit and report? So this is the station, the workstation of pathologists. Typically, it will have 2 screens, 2 monitors. One of them will display the patient data, different dashboards, and the other one will show you the images. So according to the international organizations on digital pathology, it should be a high resolution screen. You need not, there's no particular specification for the screen that should be put. So it should be a high resolution screen, which we are using in our day-to-day practice. And this is where a fully digitized pathologist is going to sit and report his cases with only 2 screens and a mic and a mouse. Nothing else is needed for reporting these cases. Now, this is something that I'm talking to you about, digital pathology, which is not so widely used in our country, but internationally, there are guidelines to validate such scanners. So for validation, for every use case that you are using your scanner, for example, HE staining, frozen section, hematology, you have to scan around 60 such cases. And the validation should include additional 20 for every added stain, special stain, IHCs, whatever you are practicing in your setup. Now, this has to be supplemented with diagnostic concordance between digital images and glass slides. So that intra-observer variability should be there, and it should be not less than 95%. I mean, the variability should be, concordance should be more than 95%. This should be supplemented with a washout period of about 2 weeks. That is, you see the digital images and 2 weeks later you see the glass slides. So that's how you have to validate the scanner before adopting it into your practice. So what happens once you're done with your digital pathology, all the equipments are there, you started reporting. The next point, in fact, the end point of all this drama is artificial intelligence. We have not yet started scratching the surface also till now. Artificial intelligence is what is going to change the way we practice, and that will happen only once we pave in the way of digital pathology in our laboratories. So the commonly used things that we are available in the market are measuring tools and mitosis count, like I told you. Those are artificial intelligence algorithms. Then the complex ones like identifying H. pylori, then subtle tumor invasions, and quantification of various IHC parameters. what happens once you imbibe all these changes in digital pathology in your practice? Number one, the quality improves. So what I have seen in my practice is when I was in SigTuple, I would see that when I have interacted with the clients at that time, the people who were using the solution, the biggest challenge that we faced, and Dr. Renu would agree with it, was streamlining the pre-analyticals in a new center, because your artificial intelligence device is only as good as your pre-analyticals. So if your staining is not good, your smearing is not good, there is no chance that your artificial intelligence device is going to give you a good result. So that has to be optimized. If that is good, the AI will work beautifully. It is going to be an able assistant. When you come to histopath, it's the same case. So like you see in these smears, all the sections are of different shape and sizes. The cover slipping is not so good. There is bubble and everything is irregular. But if you want your AI to perform well, the slide should look like this. They should be like properly cut. The size should be proper of all the sections. There should not be any air bubbling. The processing, the staining, it should be optimal. Then only the scanning and picture taking is going to get easier for the device, and it will bring out a beautiful image for you to interpret and report. Another advantage, like I said, LIS integration. You're sitting with your clinical colleague in his OPD and he talks about the case. You need not go back to your slides, see it, and then tell him. You can actually click on the slide on the LIS. It will open that case for you. The images will be integrated with that particular ID. It can open the case for you. You can zoom in, zoom out. You can show him the areas of interest. He can tell you the queries, and you can discuss the case then and there itself. So the tumor boards become smart now. You need not be, helter-skelter running for slides the previous day and then taking pictures and presenting it the next. So this makes your workflow very, very sleek. So this is how the digital pathology can be used. But how is the world using digital pathology? Let's just have a peep into it and see where are we from an Indian perspective. So these are certain examples of digital path. I told you frozen section is the most commonly used platform for digital pathology. So here you can see the pathologist is sitting in another hospital. He's a neuropathologist. He's viewing the images that have been scanned in Pittsburgh Children's Hospital, and simultaneously he's talking to the surgeon here. So surgeon is also seeing the images. He is also seeing the images, and they can converse and decide on the case, discuss on the case. It's like when the pathologist was not present in this center, yet the surgeon was able to get an informed opinion for his patient. So this is one of the use case scenarios. This is another example of Italy, where they have created hub and spoke model of frozen section reporting. So this is where Bolzano, the hub hospital lies here. The images are relayed from all these three centers to this particular hospital. And from here, all the reports go off to the patients. Now, mind you, these are examples of the places who have the means, but they do not have the expertise. So this is how they bridge the gap. Digital pathology, these contraptions are helping them to provide better services to their patients. Another example, now this is how you capitalize on these inventions. The concept of creating digital notes. So the scanners are costly. It's a common knowledge. So what they do now, what they're offering abroad is that we'll process your slides. We will get the slides, we'll scan them. The images will be sent to the respective pathologist, and they can instantly report these cases. And the blocks and the glass slides can be mailed to them later. So this is when the scanners cannot be afforded by everybody. And that's how the people with a lot of innovation come in, and they say, okay, fine, we'll buy one scanner for you and we will send you the images. You pay us as per the images, as per the slides scanned. Now, this is one beautiful example of Japan. They have actually created a network of digital pathology across their country. So this is Nagasaki University Hospital, who built a model DP facility. Then they tested it on the Awaji Medical Center in 2015. Then they made another DP hub, which was in Kamede Medical Center. And all these centers, they have a biopsy load or the smear load of around 4,000, 5,000. So wherever one particular expert is not present, the other expert from the other center, they report those cases. So in between all this, they created a center, our medical center, which was a pathologist free lab. So they would just scan the cases, and the other places which are equipped with digital pathology, they would be reporting the cases of such centers. So this is just an example of 5 centers. They've actually added more centers into this network, and they are a fully functioning network of hospitals that work through digital pathology medium. So these are my references. So this is where the world is. We are still scratching the surface. We are still being afraid of venturing into the digital space, thinking that it's going to hamper our work, our employability, but that is not the case. I have been using this solution for a very long time now. And before we had the solution in our center, sending samples, getting second opinion, getting stuck in proper diagnosis, it was a struggle every day. But after we have got this solution, we have realized that working seamlessly has become easy for us. Lot of times, I take almost an hour to travel to my hospital from my place. And a lot of times, I actually review reports during my travel because I have the means to do it. And also, when there is an emergency and I cannot be at the hospital, I have the facility to see these images and give a very confident report to my clinical counterpart. It saves me the panic that arises into any pathologist to provide a report sooner possible, and it also brings in the ease of it saves my time when I'm done with most of my work, which was anyways a very routine task for me. When I go to my lab, I start working on things that were more pressing because I have cleared my morning load on the way. So this really helps me to streamline my day and perform better. So as pathologist, I think especially in India where one pathologist caters to a lot of other issues also in the lab, this becomes really, really easy for us. And digital pathology, if not for the future that it holds, the promise that it holds in form of artificial intelligence algorithms, it should be adopted for the ease of working that we feel when we are using or working with these solutions in our centers. So I hope with this that digital pathology becomes the pathology and we need not have to sit and talk about it, that this is a usable technique and it should be adopted in every hospital. So that's about it. Any more questions? I would be happy to take them.
Thank you, Dr. Richa, for that invigorating talk on digital pathology. You just brought about those real life scenarios, which a lot of people find it very challenging. There's so much debate around how to adopt, and that's where the clarity needs to be put out. And that's what you have amazingly and very beautifully shown today in your discussion. And we thank you so much for that. We would encourage the audience to come up with any kinds of questions, and I think she would be very happy to take that at this point of time. So we look forward to some interaction and questions from the audience. So while we wait for any kind of question, I have one question for you, Dr. Richa. If there was this one area, just that very first important one area where you feel digital pathology has brought about a transformation in your practice today, coming from the fact that, you know, we as pathologists have been morphologists, we've always been bound to conventional ways of techniques, and that's so harbored and deep wired in our brain even till today. And coming from that era and generation, you know, where we have seen things so manually done, where we have used water baths and things like that, right? And then we have evolved to the era of automation in our lives, and that in itself was such a big transition for us, and that change, and how we converted ourselves to adapt that, right? Molded ourselves rather, and here we are at an age of digital, and which is again brand new. With comes with this with innovation comes also the kind of the feeling of whether you can adapt or not, the challenges that come with it, and also the uncertainty sometimes, that we dwell within ourselves. Can we actually adapt to something of a rapid pace of change and advancement in technology itself, and how we need to keep pace with it? What would be that one area where you feel all of this has made that remarkable transition or change for you, and a change to look forward to?
One area, I wouldn't say one area. I think if you think about digital pathology, the first thing I would say is that it has made our lives very easy, very comfortable. So, getting everything at just a click, because that's a nature to us. We want to order food instantly. We want to have everything in a click on our tables. So this has helped us in connecting and remain connected to the lab for a longer time, because anyways that's what we're supposed to do. So not
Definitely.
most of us are able to check out after 5. We will be getting calls, we will be being connected to the way the patients are being managed in the hospital. So that has enabled us to remain connected in a more informed way. That's where I
Right.
see the impact that has come in through these digital
Absolutely.
uh, devices. And
Ab-
the next thing that I see promising is AI, because I genuinely feel that AI has not been used enough when we talk about digital solutions. What are we doing with AI? Only taking images right now. What needs to be done is incorporate them in ways that we can make very good decisions. Not all of us are expert, not most of us become experts in whatever fields that we practice. So if you have AI based tools attached to your digital platforms, your making a diagnosis, how much with the expertise you can give a sure confirmed diagnosis to your patient, that changes completely. So
Absolutely.
AI, the only way to get an AI into your labs is through digital platforms. There is no other way.
Right. Thank you for that. Anything else? Any
Hello,
feedbacks or questions? Yes,
hello.
please go ahead.
Myself, Dr. Arun Maiti from Bhopal.
Right.
I have a question for Dr. Richa. In fact, three questions. First is what is the legality of this? Is there any legally approved body in India to? Is there any?
No, there are no legally approved bodies right now for digital reporting. But since it's a new technology, I'm sure the approving bodies are going to take up this case. The seniors in this field will. And very soon, this will also become a new norm of reporting.
But when we go to the CMHO, the local CMHO, the Chief Medical Officer, how can we convince him that we are supervising the lab or we are reporting the lab in this the digital way, and how we can convince them? And last, my question is the which one to start to begin with, where this who is dealing with all this instrument, and from where we can get the training, myself, and then train the staff others, and then we
So
can
first thing, yeah,
and
first
then
things are,
we जी
yeah, बोलिए sir, बोलिए.
उसके बाद ही तो हम उनको then we can convince the our regulatory authorities, that is principal secretary health and the CMHO or health commissioner, that to regulate it in our state or in India, because in the as of now there is no gadget uh, notification regarding this, because we are facing the same problem here in MP, that a pathologist can go to visit to only two places,
Hmm.
and we have already approached the High Court, Honorable High Court, double bench Chief Justice, and how can we convince them that one pathologist can report in if he had such a like of the digital platform, he can report from a place in n number of places depending on his capability. So how is there any literature? So when we are already, our petition is already in Honorable High Court, Jabalpur, in MP. So and we are just trying to explain them. Not only me, the complete pathologist association want to clear it. I myself want to clear it. How we can explain it to my lawyer, so that the message will be conveyed to the Honorable Chief Justice, so we can be implemented.
So, sir, digital solution doesn't mean that the pathologist is not visiting, क्योंकि आप उस लैब का क्वालिटी कैसे इंश्योर करोगे? अगर आप ये पूछ रहे हैं मुझसे कि आई बीइंग अ पैथोलॉजिस्ट, क्या मैं मान लो दिल्ली के 10 लैब में कंसल्ट कर सकती हूँ क्या? लेकिन अगर मैं वहां नहीं जा रही हूँ तो वो तो मैं लीगली गलत कर रही हूँ उनको ना सुपरवाइज करके.
ओके, बट इन ऑड आवर्स, रात के 2 बजे माय लैब इज इन वन टॉप मोस्ट कार्डियक सेंटर इन भोपाल. अब रात के 2 बजे वहाँ पेशेंट आया, देन हैव टू रिपोर्ट इट, समथिंग इज एबनॉर्मल इन द स्लाइड, वहाँ पर काउंट ज्यादा आ रहा है बहुत.
सर वो तो आप देख सकते हैं ना, बिकॉज यू विल बी एबल टू इंश्योर द क्वालिटी ऑफ योर डिवाइस. आप दिन में जाके उसको देख ही रहे हैं कि वो रिपोर्ट ठीक से एनालाइज कर रहा है नहीं कर रहा है. सो दैट ओनस लाइज ऑन अस, दैट हाउ डू वी कैलिब्रेट, क्योंकि ऑल दीज डिवाइसेस जब पहले दिन लग जाते हैं उस दिन से तो हम यूज करते नहीं है. वी हैव टू वैलिडेट देम. आई ऑल्सो वैलिडेटेड माई डिवाइस ऑन माई सेंटर. सेम थिंग आई थिंक SigTuple does in every center that they put their device on. आप वैलिडेट करोगे, आप मैनुअल माइक्रोस्कोपी से, CBC से, अपने मशीन के डेटा से एक स्टडी करोगे कि हाँ ये उतना ही वैसा ही रिजल्ट दे रहा है जैसे कि मैं अपने माइक्रोस्कोपी में देख के दूंगा, तो उसके बाद ही आप इस डिवाइस को एक्सेप्ट करोगे. So if you are giving a result in your absence, you are anyways responsible for the report that you're giving. So you will ensure that the device is working properly during the time that you are present in those labs. Then only आप surety से sign out कर सकते हो सर. आपकी absence का supplement नहीं है ये उस absence को fill in करने का एक option है आपके पास.
Because NABL also does not allow this online or online reporting or public digital pathology.
करेक्ट. हाँ, तभी मैं बोल रही हूँ, आप ये नहीं सोच सकते कि अब मान लीजिए मैं जयपुर में बैठी हूँ और मैं सोच रही हूँ कि मैं बीकानेर की सारी रिपोर्टें इनसे साइन कर लूंगी, लेकिन मैं बीकानेर तो कभी जाऊंगी ही नहीं. तो लेकिन वहां पे बैठा हुआ अगर पैथोलॉजिस्ट ये बोलता है आपका नेटवर्क है, ही इज एंश्योरिंग कि वो डिवाइस ठीक चल रहा है, मुझे इस वक्त जरूरत नहीं है, आप ये रिपोर्ट कर दीजिए, तो आप कर सकते हैं. नहीं तो सर इस डिवाइस का अब्यूज तो बहुत आसान है, एंड इंडिया में तो बहुत ही ज्यादा ईजी है, क्योंकि हमारे तो एनीवेज पैथोलॉजिस्ट आर प्राइवेट पैथोलॉजिस्ट आर फाइटिंग ऑन डिफरेंट forums because we have a lot of ghost pathologists everywhere. So we do not recommend this device as a supplement for being ghost pathologist anywhere. We are just trying to fill up the places when the conditions where जब हम हो ही नहीं सकते हैं तब हम क्या करें? How best can we serve our patients? So we can use this device to serve them in most intelligent way possible. तो सर इसका आपको अगर कुछ CMHO के साथ करना है तो आप इसको वैलिडेट कीजिए, 4-5 सेंटर में वैलिडेट कीजिए और उन जगहों को क्रिएट कर दिए कि यहाँ पे तो कुछ भी करके, कोई ट्राइबल एरिया है, कुछ भी करके पैथोलॉजिस्ट पहुंच ही नहीं सकता है, तो वहां पे आपका बेस्ट बेट क्या है? आप इन डिवाइसेस को यूज कीजिए और आइडेंटिफाई कीजिए पैथोलॉजिस्ट जो कि इन डिवाइसेस पे काम करेंगे, एंड योर विजिट शुड आल्सो बी टाइम्ड टू दीज सेंटर्स.
Sorry to interrupt, ये validate कौन करेगा? For example, I am reporting more than 100 pathology across central India. So who is the validating authority I should approach? Because I don't think the Honorable High Court is the, he can pass the order to Health Commissioner, but वैलिडेट किससे कराने का है? मतलब ये जो
मैं डिवाइस को वैलिडेट करने की बात कर रही हूँ कि आप ये एक पायलट प्रोजेक्ट जैसा हो सकता है, वो आप करके आप प्रपोज कर सकते हैं. फिलहाल तो गवर्निंग बॉडीज कोई भी, आई थिंक डॉक्टर रेनू कैन हेल्प मी हियर इफ वी हैव एनी अदर.
I was just waiting for you to finish, Richa. So to add on to a lot of things that we are saying, any kind of innovation takes some time to be accepted also. And different states have their own legal procedures. And NABL, by the way, sir, is already working on this to come up with some kind of a documentation. It may take some time, but yes, the awareness is there. The petitions have been put up. People have been talking about it. And like any other digital pathology, any other automated device that you have today, everything took its course and time. And I'm sure even those kind of documentations will be formed on solutions like this. The directors of various hospitals, labs, all of them are working on that front. And like Dr. Richa said, the first thing is you need to validate this device in your institution. You need to be convinced about it. When you are convinced about it, you can speak with conviction to any authority tomorrow in getting that kind of a legal approval in usage in your system or in your area of expertise. First is that you need to validate it in your center so that you can speak about it with conviction to any kind of governing body where you can put it forward. And even if 10 such pathologists in your jurisdiction could do this and put forward a paper like a white paper to the governing body and show the results, and show the results where it has helped, and also you will be anyways correlating it with the conventional methodologies which exist in the lab. And more importantly, there is a quality check on the device itself. We do give a cartridge, where you'll be doing a performance qualification every day, and those are documented as well. So it is not like it's just a device and you're scanning something and an AI is reporting on that. There are quality checks on it as well, which you will be attaching as a document along with the validation, and that is what we have been doing in most of the other cities, and that has been acceptable. So even when an NABL auditor comes, they do look at all these things. You can do a split sample testing. You can run the eQuas slide on it. So there are various ways where you can justify it. And it all starts with these little steps. And then finally, obviously, the NABL will also get into the picture. The CAP guidelines are already available today. So somebody who's CAP accredited will always show the CAP guidelines for it. And that is also acceptable. So there are very indirect ways of doing it. And the most important thing, like how Dr. Richa has mentioned, the pathologist in that particular center for which is being reported has to look at the quality checks for the day, for the device, and issue that quality report, for the day, that yes, this device is fine. It has gone through all the quality checks. And so a person like you from a remote area will be able to get access to that particular case, report that particular case with the visual based evidence, and finally a pathologist's signature will go on that report. So it's not like an AI report going on its own. And how do you even validate something like that, or approve something like that? It's a pathologist at the end of the day who is taking a call based on the clinical correlation, the rest of the other parameters, radiological findings, for instance, and collaboratively with visual evidence, they are going to take a call based on the QC check for that day, putting the pre-analytical conditions in its place, making sure that all the SOPs are in place, no sample mix-up, etc., who the pathologist would be checking, obviously, in that. So it's about presenting a case to a governing body. And I'm sure that, if we could do some of these validations in Bhopal, please feel free to reach out to us. When it comes to training, I want to address that point as well. We have a very diligent team, on the go-to-market side, as well as the expertise of doctors who are available on our in-house platforms. And, for any kind of feedback, any kind of training, we diligently do that. We also train the technicians, not just the pathologists, and we handhold them. In fact, even during the validation, from how do you make a smear, even if you have to change the stain, we are stain agnostic. So, we also give SOPs on how to, bring about a good standardized protocol for your staining platform. We train the technologists diligently again and again how to make an ideal smear. So it's to that level that we take control of. So just think about the places where there are no pathologists and reports still go. Think about the times we have ourselves gone back home and a CBC report is shared by a technician, and then we have okayed that report. We have all done that because we never had visual, the option to view something visually after we have left the lab. And the many times I myself, as a pathologist, as an oncopathologist, has driven 30 kilometers back just to make sure that it was acute leukemia, and I have to choose the markers for flow cytometry. So I'm sure any governing body knows that pain point today, knows the limitations, knows the vacuum which is there in our pathology practice today, and will be more hopeful and also will support something like this, provided we show them a good validated report, a pilot, what you would do in your lab. And with backing that evidence and the result that comes out of it, I am sure they would agree to. So if you need any help in a validation where we could conduct a pilot at your center, please let us know. One-on-one is also. We will definitely show you the steps to the approach and the steps to manage that and to come up with a good validation report, which will help you to take it for a legal consultation and also for a clearance on the same. We would definitely be...
Contact numbers, madam, please.
Yeah, we would definitely put that up. We will definitely share that with you. Mr. Manohar, I think we have sir's contact number, right? Dr.
Contact number of
Maiti?
vendors and contact number of from where we can
Sure.
get the training, and from
Yes,
where
yes.
we can get the SOP of the instrument.
Yeah, we will share all the details with you, and we will have another call with you, sir, one-on-one as well, how we can take this up forward. We will be there with you step by step to help. Yeah.
Dr. Maiti, sorry, sir. Sorry to interrupt you. This is Manohar Daka. I deal with sales and marketing at SigTuple. I have your details. I will be in touch with you maybe Monday or just after this call as well. And to add with what Dr. Renu and Dr. Richa had informed you about validation and all, right? The device itself is FDA certified already, and it has CE's IVDR mark as well. So
I will take the
and
I will take the initiative to legalize also, because it is very good.
Yeah, legal part, as you said, I think Dr. Renu has already covered. We are already in touch with NABR, and they are also coming up with guidelines to adopt digital pathology in the normal lab. And the legality that you have mentioned about pathologists can only visit 2 labs is more to do with other parts of other functions of lab, like quality checks and everything, not just specifically for A100. But so once in our call, we'll go in detail with how we can approach for your state, and from there we can take it up, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
But thank you, Dr. Maiti, for bringing it up, because these are points, obviously, going forward, these are the practical challenges that we do face, and that's where we are to help out in these situations.
Madam, for the interrupt, and last thing, all pathologists are facing the issue due to a circular of our health secretary. एक pathologist only 2 lab को supervise कर सकता है. That is just that was based on the 2003 some order.
Right.
So we are challenging the same order.
Right.
Interval bench. But I want to get the material to support my petition behind which is in the...
Yeah. You will work on.
And once the court is convinced, then he will give the directions कि क्या इसका लेगेटरी बनाई है, क्या इसका SOP बनाई है, etc. for the quality management, internal quality, external quality, and all these things.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
इनका डिटेल्स कहाँ मिल जाए, अवेलेबल रहेगा, मतलब ये जो
vendors. So Mr. Manohar Daka will be sharing all that with you, sir. He's got your email ID, right? He'll be contacting you shortly.
Email ID also, and this WhatsApp number also I have said, my mobile number.
He has it, so he will be contacting you shortly. He will give you all the details.
And my humble request to him that if, at the earliest, if he can contact me, so I will get some help.
Definitely, we'll do that. We'll make sure.
Because I want to get his regulated until it is legally. Yeah.
We understand, sir. We will definitely do that.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Any more feedback from anybody else? or if anybody wants to share their own experiences on digital pathology, it could be a thought, it could be anything. We would be happy to hear that as well. If there are no more questions, then we will end this session. But feel free to reach out even at a later point of time. You can always write to us, you can call us. The contact numbers and all are available to you. So we thank you so much for taking out your precious time on a weekend, like Saturday evening. And thank you again, Dr. Richa. I go back with a lot of thought processes as well after listening to your talk. It is always good to, collaborate on these fronts where we can exchange ideas and obviously something beautiful comes out of it. And I look forward to engaging with you in the future again as well. So there we have something in the chat box where
So
Dr.
much.
Akash, has mentioned it is an excellent presentation. I do share that feedback as well, what Dr. Akash is saying. So thank you again, everybody. And we hope to have such interesting sessions in the future as well. And we hope that you all will be part of this great journey as we see AS76 coming out very soon, which I am sure is going to be a game changer in the space of digital pathology. And we would love to have collaboration with all of you supporting us in this journey together, that we can, make something amazing happen in India. Thank you again.